Welcome to the EOB podcast, where we talk about the weekend's box office and the new openings this week. I am Ben No. Sen Dong will be joining us this week because he is out of town, which means this podcast is going to be short. So let's get right to it. Coming in number one over the weekend is Zootopia, the animation by Disney. It pulled in 51 million over the weekend. Experienced a 31% drop off, which is pretty low. Domestic total right now is 134 million. Worldwide, it is at 447 million, with 112 million of that coming from China. The movie has great reviews, I believe about 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a near perfect score. It has good word of mouth, as evidenced by the lowest drop off. Normally, the second weekend movies experience about 50% drop off. The 31% drop off is excellent. So another strong release by Disney Animation. Okay, so coming in number two is 10 Cloverfield Lane. Sen and I had the movie at about 10 million range, but we thought that it could probably do 25 given the mysterious nature of the trailers. It didn't show very much. It's a strange trailer, a sense that it teased you enough that it might interest people in watching it, and it looks like it works. I think why it did so well is because of a clever marketing campaign. 10 Cloverfield Lane is produced by J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot company. The promos had it as kind of like a spiritual sequel, or maybe even a direct sequel to the 2010 monster movie Cloverfield. But according to the reviews, people who've seen it, it has nothing to do with the 2010 movie. Score 1 for the marketing campaign. The name has Cloverfield in it. I hinted that it might have something to do with Cloverfield, that there might be some creatures outside, in this bunker that, John Goodman and Mary Elizabeth Winstead and John Gallagher Jr. are in. It is pretty much a small movie. It was called The Cellar before they changed it to 10 Cloverfield Lane, maybe because they thought that, hey, maybe this is a good tie into the other movie, which apparently has nothing to do with the other movie. The reviews are good. 90% at Rotten Tomatoes. Let's check what the cinema scores are. The cinema score for 10 Cloverfield Lane is only average, a B-. Could be that people might be disappointed. Audience going in to see if it's really a sequel to Cloverfield or not, they might come disappointed. So that's why we see the B- cinema score. The thing to keep an eye on is how it will hold up on the second week, right? I mean, it nearly had a 25 million opening, which is excellent for this movie. I don't think the movie cost that much to make, since it takes place in a basement and it has 3 actors. So we'll see. We'll see how this movie holds up. If it holds up, that means the marketing campaign works and they're actually good word of mouth. Audiences are satisfied. But judging by the B- cinema score, it might not. Gimmicky movies, sometimes they open well, but the second week experience a drop off because, hey, the cat's out of the bag. Alright, so let's move on to number 3, Deadpool. It pulled in about 10.9 million over the weekend. And so far it made a 328 million domestic. Worldwide, it is at right now it's at 708 million. The movie is banned in China, so we won't be seeing any grosses from there due to its violent and graphic nature. In any case, Deadpool is Fox's highest grossing domestic superhero movie, and an R-rated movie at that, which is quite an achievement. It only experienced about 35% drop off from the previous week. Still has an awesome hold. Okay, number 4, London Has Fallen. It pulled in 10.8 million in the second weekend. As I said, second weekend we normally see a 50% drop off, and that's what it experienced, around 50% drop off. And it made 39 million so far. The budget is around 60. London Has Fallen is the second Gerard Butler movie in the past week. The other one was Gods of Egypt, which tanked at the box office. So the first movie, Olympus Has Fallen, opened to 30 million, and it's in the second weekend it dropped 53%. And second weekend made about 14 million on its way to nearly 100 million gross. So for London Has Fallen, it's relatively behind. It opened to only 21 million, and in its second weekend, it's down to 10. So it probably won't reach the 99 million that the first movie made. So it probably end up somewhere in the 70s or 80s. And number 5 is Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, the comedy by Tina Fey, which also stars Margot Robbie, Martin Freeman, Billy Bob Thornton, and Alfred Molina. The movie opened to about 7.5 million. In its second weekend, it dropped about 37%, which is okay, but still it didn't open well. It pulled in 4.7 million over the weekend, and in 2 weeks it made about 14.6 million. The budget is 35. Looks like it'll do okay. I mean, Tina Fey without her running mate, Amy Poehler, is a mixed bag. Usually they pull in about this amount. This is more of a message movie and not like the movie that she has with Poehler. Okay, coming in at number 6 is The Perfect Match. This movie I thought would do better given the eye candy. I said it'd probably do about 12 million since at 8, but we were both way off. The movie pulled in only 4.3 million over the weekend in about 925 theaters. I don't know what you say. I mean, the reliable African American audience did not turn out for this one. Maybe because, I don't know. Reviews weren't good. The reviews were only 31%. A cinema score, I don't think there's a cinema score. Yeah, there's no cinema score for this, but reviews are only 33%, meaning that's an okay genre film, so romantic comedy. I guess it's just there's too many of them. And other than Paula Patton, there's really no names in this movie. So maybe that's why the figure is not as high as previous romantic comedies target at the African American audience. So we can chalk it up to that. Okay, number 7, The Young Messiah, another movie that didn't perform as well as we thought. Sin and I both thought that it would do around 10 million since Easter is coming up. Religious movie are in full force. Risen was not too long ago. It's another movie about Jesus, but that movie was when he died. The Young Messiah is about him being born and growing up and becoming the man, or the Messiah that he would turn out to be. So the movie only pulled in 3.3 million over the weekend. So maybe there is such a thing as too many religious movies, or at least ones about Jesus coming within weeks of each other. So that's why it failed, maybe. And then coming in number 8, The Brothers Grimsby. It pulled in 3.3 million over the weekend. This movie stars Sacha Baron Cohen as soccer hooligan who has to team up with his brother, who is a spy, and he gets caught up in his dealings. I said it would probably pull in 5 to 10 million, then said 5. Even with our optimistic figures, we were still both wrong. It pulled in 3.2 million. So it is a certified bomb. It's all downhill from here. It can only drop. I mean, it's at number 8 right now. It only pulled in 3.2. Assuming a 50% drop, it'll drop out of the top 10 next week and from people's memories. So no matter how you slice it, even if the budget is not high, it's still a flop. A flop is a flop. 3.2 million. Okay, number 9, Gods of Egypt. It pulled in 2.5 million over the weekend, experienced a 51% drop. In its third week, it made 27 million. The budget is 140 million. You could say it's a bomb here, but since Lionsgate sold the rights to other territory and their supposed exposure to this movie is only about 10 million or so, they could very well end up making a profit, even though it's a bomb at the box office. And rounding out the top 10 is Risen, the other Jesus movie, starring Joseph Fiennes as a Roman soldier who is tasked with finding the body of Jesus who resurrected from his tomb, and his body is missing. It went out and he has to go find it, and I guess along the way he discovered the truth. And the movie pulled in about 2.3 million over the weekend, experienced a 41% drop off. So far in 4 weeks, it already made 32, and the budget is 20. So it's doing all right. There's another faith-based movie coming out this week, and that will probably grab a chunk from there. But this movie is already on its way out of theaters anyway. Okay, so that's it for the top 10. Let's move on to the openings. We have 2 new releases. One is released on Wednesday called Miracles from Heaven. It stars Jennifer Garner, Queen Latifah, Martin Henderson, who bears a striking resemblance to Luke Wilson. So this is another faith-based movie. It's the story about a girl who has a disorder which causes her stomach pains. There's obstruction in her intestines. Apparently it's incurable. But then she climbed up on a tree and fell down, bumped her head, and suddenly she's cured of this disease. Right, yeah. Unbelievable. But this movie opened in 3,000 theaters. It's by the same producers as Heaven is for Real, which cost 12 million to make, but went on to gross about 91 million domestic and 101 million worldwide. There's no review for this movie yet. I'm sure they're keeping it under lid. That reviews can only hurt these type of movies. They are promoting this movie as from the producers of Heaven is for Real. They're trying to appeal to the same the audience that liked the movie. So if Miracles from Heaven is for real, it could have the same opening, if not lower, since this is another faith-based movie, but this is more story-driven, right? Even though there is some religious elements to this, like a miracle, an accident, and then suddenly a girl's problem is miraculously cured. But this movie looks like it's well made. It has Jennifer Garner, Queen Latifah, it has some names to this movie, so it could have an opening in the 15 to 20 million, if not the 22 million that the Heaven is for Real did. This probably won't do as well, but it could probably do in the 15 to 20 million range. But you know what? It could do lower too, since there's a glut of these type of movies in theaters right now, and who knows what people's appetite are for these type of movies. This is a kind of a genre that's kind of hit or miss, and inconsistent. We don't know what works and what doesn't. And then the big movie this Friday is the third movie in the Divergent series, titled Allegiant. Right now, with about 30-some reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, the movie only has about 18% score on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's not looking good. I mean, with each subsequent movie, the movies have been dropping the grosses. For example, Divergent had a 54 million opening. It went on to gross 150 million domestic, 288 million worldwide. The second movie, Insurgent, had a 52 million opening. Not that significant of a difference from the first movie, but it did 20 million less domestic, 130 million, but it made more, 297 million worldwide. So if the trend kind of holds, this movie will probably do less still than the second movie. It could do maybe in the 45 to 50 million range, assuming a drop off, right? But worldwide could do better, assuming it follows the trend that this is the third but not final movie. Like, it's kind of like the Hunger Games movie, where the second to the last movie didn't do as well, kind of like that. So that's it for this week. Hopefully Sin will return for the next podcast. Until then, bye.